Well, we're in the age of AI, and there's a lot going on with that. We know. And sometimes it's real good. You look at it and go, okay, that's nice. I'm getting a lot of writing done faster, doing searching. That's good. But there's sometimes a little challenge because it becomes the AI is dominant. And we think, gee, we as human beings are going to be left in the sand or we'll be left completely out. Well, sometimes we feel that way, but I got some good news for you. There's a trait that human beings have that you have. Watching this right now, listening to this, you have a trait that is your real key to success. And it's written about in a new book that I just got hold of a little while ago and read it and got a chance to see what we can do. And it ties in directly with some of the things we've been talking about as Stark Raving Entrepreneurs. It is a book that I really encourage you to look into. And the name of the book is The AI for the Authentic Leader. And the author of that book is Allison Shapira. Let me tell you a little bit about Allison here. She is an adjunct lecturer in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School, where she teaches leadership communication with a focus on helping leaders speak with confidence and clarity. She does that very well, by the way, and particularly during times of complexity and change. Hello, that's like right now, those things going on. Now, beyond Harvard, she's also the founder and CEO of Global Public Speaking. She knows about public speaking really well. She's an executive communication on that, and she's worked with leaders across government, business, and nonprofit sectors, including the heads of state and Fortune 100 executives. Her practical approach integrates real world experience with research based techniques and strategies. I love that about the book. She has plenty of reference, not just good ideas, which they are, but also backed up with lots of authenticity and the references you need. She is particularly committed to empowering women leaders globally, including her work with the nonprofit Vital Voices Global Partnership at Kennedy School. She is one incredible person. Hey, I've got a treat for you because she is joining us right now. And it is so good to have you with us, Allison. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. It is great to be with you as well. One quick note about Vital Voices. It's actually not at the Kennedy School. It is a separate nonprofit. So I just wanted to put that out there for the record. It is a terrific nonprofit that I've had the pleasure to be a part of working with for many years.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So we want to make that straighten out in there. But I got to say, I love your book. The book is, again, The AI for the Authentic Leader. And this is one that really resonates with me. Too often we feel we're inundated with so much AI-ish stuff. Can I use that as a word? AI-ish, that we just go, yuck. Actually, I think there's a few more colorful military expressions we have, but we'll leave it at that for right now. But tell us a little bit about the book you wrote, which I think is excellent. Tell us a little bit about what it is and who it's directed toward.
I really appreciate that because I wrote the book based on the work I do with leaders all around the world, helping them build their confidence to be more effective, especially in the way they communicate. And as I've been following the development, specifically of generative artificial intelligence, I realized a lot of these leaders are not using AI at all. In fact, they're afraid of using AI. And even one executive I work with said to me, Allison, you know me. I'm all about authenticity. I don't even want to touch ChatGPT because I'm afraid it will make me less authentic. And as you know, Terry, it certainly can make you less authentic, which is why you always say copy, paste, customize, right? That's something that I learned from you. And so I realized these leaders are going to be leading people through a time of incredible change in the world. And they're not comfortable using this new technology. And yet their companies are deciding to roll out AI across the enterprise, or their organizations, their companies, their countries are integrating AI. And these individual leaders don't feel comfortable with it. And that's why I wanted to write the book so that leaders could realize they can use AI to be better humans, to be more effective leaders. They don't have to outsource their authenticity or their leadership to technology. They can use it to be better versions of themselves, which then makes them better ambassadors of these new policies for their companies.
Absolutely. I love the way you put that. And that is so good because, as you mentioned, I appreciate you mentioning that and quoting me in your book of copy, paste, and then customize. Too often we hear people on the net, bless their heart. They're wonderful. That's a nice Southern expression there. Bless their heart. What they're doing, they copy it and paste it and go, well, there we go, all done. I go, no, 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 Sparky. You copy and paste. Okay, that's a start, but then you heavily customize it. And it's all part of that secret that helps us get ahead of AI. I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans that you talk about and wrote the book on it, being authentic. On page 9, you talked about being authentic and what it is, and you had a really good definition. Tell us a little bit about what you mean by authenticity, what it means, and why it gives us a real advantage in the world of AI.
Authenticity can be defined in many ways. The way I define authenticity is speaking and acting in a way that's true to your values and beliefs. Because authenticity isn't always a good thing. You can be authentically lazy or authentically unprepared. I look at authenticity as being the best version of yourself. So bringing out the best version of yourself, which means being true to who you are and what you believe in. And I have found in my work with leaders around the world, in different countries, as well as in different industries, when they speak and act in a way that's true to their values, then the version of themselves that they bring forth is so much more powerful and so much more credible, which means the people they're trying to lead are more likely to follow them, be influenced by them, and take action to achieve a shared vision, which is how I define leadership. So I have found a direct link between being our best selves and being effective in influencing others to achieve a shared outcome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, let's go a little bit deeper here because I know in the book you do that. And by the way, those of you watching this, get the book. It is phenomenal. And what is, it's not that long a read. It's not like it's a Russian novel of 1,000 pages. No, it's only like 45 pages on the copy that I saw, the early copy. Really good and packed with a lot of information. Think about it. You can become a better communicator, use AI better, be more authentic by taking an hour, maybe 2 hours if you're a real slow reader and can go through that. So Allison, help us a little bit on how does someone become more authentic? What specific steps, you've given several of those in the book, that stand out in your mind on how to be more authentic, particularly when you're writing or you're using AI with video or podcasting, as many of our viewers will be doing. What do you recommend for that?
I really appreciate you mentioning the length of the book. So it's now 76 pages in terms of the length of it. But the reason I kept it short is because I want a busy leader to read it in a single 2-hour direct flight. That's it. I wanted you to be able to sit down, read it, and then have time to absorb it and think about what it says. It might be 82 pages. So don't quote me on the page length. But
okay, it'll be good.
Regardless,
either way, it's good. Every
2
hours.
I wanted to keep it short, because I know we need this now. We don't have time to do a 2-year research project to get this book out. I needed people to learn and use these tools now because the world is changing so quickly. And then the next book will be an extension of this book, and it will have more context to add as well. So the baseline assumption is, if authenticity makes you a better leader, a more effective leader, then how can AI make you more authentic? Is that what you're asking me to unpack right now?
Yeah, exactly. How using the AI can help you to be a better person than you already are, just helping you magnify the best of who you are.
That's right. And there are 3 ways in which I focus on that in the book. And I start in terms of what's really easy to achieve and then what gets progressively harder to achieve. And the first way that AI can make you more authentic is it can help you remove those little words that you're saying or using without even realizing it, that are jargon and are covering up your authenticity. And what I find, especially the more years of experience we have in any industry, the more jargon we're using, whether it's corporate or bureaucratic, governmental jargon, we don't even realize it. And what we're doing is we're taking away the power of our words. And so I do this with my private clients already. I help them challenge the words that they're using, and AI can help you challenge that as well. So it can show you the words you're using that might be either jargon or too technical for your audience, and then help you either suggest new phrasing or say, what's a better word to say this that's more in line with how you would say it. So that's the first step. to be more authentic using AI. And then the second and third steps are around having the AI serve as a mirror of how you're acting to give you some guidance on how to act more in alignment with your values. So if you're having a difficult conversation, can AI prompt you with language that's more in line with how you'd like to show up, as opposed to how you're actually showing up? Because we know humans are messy, they're unpredictable, we don't always say or do the right thing. And so the AI then can help us, remind us to be who we know we want to be at our best, and even tap into the stories and beliefs that we have that we may have forgotten, that in the moment we forget, in order to remind us of who we want to be so that we can be our best self in any situation.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. So it's really about us not competing with AI, but really using AI as an assistant, as someone who gives us ideas and helps us to come up with ideas, do the research for us, because whoa, it can really do a lot. Gina and I are seeing that enormously with clients we work with when we say, give us information on that industry. And what would normally take 3-4 weeks or longer comes back with information in 15 to 30 minutes with PhD level dissertation quality information, and it helps us to do that. Well, one of the things you touched on there, and I thought it interesting you say that because I got my notes here. I wanted to talk about what you covered on page 26, I think was so good, on filler words. And people that do that, I think you and I both are working with a company, Yoodli, where we're advisors to them. They have a way to check that. But the filler words, well, it's kind of like, like, so I was kind of like, and kind of like, and you just want to strangle somebody when they're saying that. Tell us, first of all, how to detect filler words that we might be using without, like, knowing about it, like we're doing it, like I can't even form a complete sentence without saying the word like. And then how do we eradicate that?
It's such a fascinating topic because the reason we use filler words can vary. We might use filler words because we're nervous. We might use filler words because we're unsure of what we're saying. And we might use filler words simply because we pick them up from people around us. I refer to it as linguistic contagion in the book. So we use it without even realizing it. And we pick it up, especially from our senior leaders. So if you work for someone who's using so to start every sentence, you're going to start every sentence. And if you are working with a more junior team, they're going to pick up your filler words. So, and I start my sentences with so. I'm the one who does that. It's something that we do without realizing it. It can be interpreted as a lack of confidence in ourselves or in our material. So it's not that the filler words themselves are always that destructive. It's that our audience can judge them in a way that diminishes our perceived credibility and competence. And that's really dangerous because you might be using it just because that's what your friends use. And yet your client assumes you're using it because you don't know what you're talking about. So it's those perceptions that are so dangerous. AI is very good at picking up those filler words and reflecting them back to you. And that's one of the early areas in which Yoodli really excelled and still excels, is showing you the fillers and exactly those minimizers you're using, like I think and kind of and sort of or just. And then you can decide how much you want to address it. And what I advise my clients is to pause and breathe instead of using the fillers. We first and foremost have to be aware that we're saying them, and then we pause and breathe and let ourselves have a moment of not talking so we can be more thoughtful, and then we can answer. And it really adds to our executive presence when we can do that. There's nothing wrong with a couple of filler words, but used excessively, then they diminish our perceived confidence and credibility.
Absolutely. I think that's the key, the perceived confidence that people have. We know that we've got the information we want to communicate, but when we're filling our communication with words that denigrate that, that's not a good thing. And that's where a tool like Yoodli that we use really gives us a lot of benefit of that. Matter of fact, those of you watching this, I'd encourage you to look into it. That's Yoodli, Yoodli.ai. and it's a great little tool to find out how you're doing. Go ahead and record yourself. I thought, hey, I'm doing okay on this. And I record myself and look at it and go, ooh, Terry, there it is. And it shows you the transcript and you hear yourself saying it going, oh my goodness. Okay, let me pay more attention to that. And I think also that relates to the idea of being authentic. Occasionally, I'm going to use a filler word because I can't think of what to say, and that's still authentic. But it seems like there's a way that you can blend in authenticity and make sure it's still there, but try to reduce that. I love the way you address that in the book, and several other things you did also. I really like the idea where you were talking about having a copy of you. So, what would Allison say in this situation? What would Allison do? That having an AI bot composing your information, the words that you've used, your body of work, put in there. This sounds like something really good. I know a lot of our clients are using that, showing them how to use this in many different ways. Tell us what that is for someone who is fascinated with it, doesn't know what it's like, and the practical applications of having a situation where we could say, what would Allison say? And it comes back and tells us what you would say, Allison.
Right. A lot of the large language models now are letting users create customized chatbots. ChatGPT calls it a custom GPT. Claude, I believe, calls it a project. Google Gemini calls it a gem. So these tools allow users to create custom chatbots based on information that they want to specialize that chatbot in. And so what I did is I took this complicated rubric that I use when evaluating speeches in my classroom at Harvard. And what I found is I use a really elaborate framework in my mind, but when I try to write that framework down and teach it to my students, it's simply too much information for them to evaluate when listening to a 3-minute speech. Now, I have 22 years of experience of doing this, so I go through all those criteria in my mind. What I did was I created a custom GPT with the full extensive rubric, and then I filled out examples of what a good opening looks like, what a good closing looks like. What are some examples I've heard from students of those openings and closings? What makes for a powerful message or use of contrast? So I fed that chatbot all of the information that I look for and appreciate in a speech. And then what I would do with my students is ask them to use what would Allison say before they come to my office hours. And then they could have that added benefit of my expertise in between office hours. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking that custom GPT and I'm creating what I call Pocket Allison so that my executive clients as well have access to something like this. And I'd really like to be able to customize a GPT for each client based on the notes from our coaching sessions, should they want to do that and provide the consent to do that. And that's something I did with my own business coach. I recorded all of our coaching sessions, removed the confidential details, and created a custom GPT based on his coaching. And now anytime I have questions on a client proposal or messaging, I simply ask the custom GPT, and I can certainly go to my coach, but within 30 seconds, I have a fair approximation of what he might say based on his talks, his notes during our coaching sessions.
See, that is so good. You're leveraging AI to really serve you, because I would imagine there's time you might be up early or late and you're working on something. Your coach isn't available. You're not able to call. You could set up a meeting for next Tuesday. Okay, but you need it right now. Well, that's the beauty of AI. You can say, wait a minute, what would my coach say about this or that? And you've got it right there. So those of you watching this, I would encourage you to think about how you could start blending that in. A good way to start is read the book, see what Allison has put together, how she is doing that right now. Others are doing that as well, so you can see what it's like. Well, Allison, we could go on for another 16 hours easily, because you've got so much in that book that is really good, very useful. We don't have that much time right now, but people are saying, hey, I need to know more about this and find out about Allison. Someone wants to reach you. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you, to contact you, or to find out more about what you're doing?
I'd encourage them to reach out on my website, which is AllisonShapira.com, just first name, last name.com.
And please spell that, because Allison can be spelled different ways. How do you spell that?
That's right. Hopefully it will be spelled correctly on the video when they look down. And it's AllsonShapira.com. And I also encourage people to follow me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there, posting on a regular basis, and it's a great way to ask me questions and engage with me there. And then the book should be available, I would say, by the time people are watching this. Hopefully the book is available for pre-order, and it comes out on October 1st, 2025, so of this year. So we're very excited about it.
Sounds good. Well, you have heard, those of you watching this, you have heard from someone who is incredible. She knows what she's talking about. She has helped many people, including me. Jen and I admire her greatly for who she is, what she's done. We're both members of the National Speakers Association, so we've seen her in a professional sense, how she performs there. This is a book that can help you in your career. It's a book that can help you become the more authentic leader that you want to be. And it does it with sound information, good references, and the way that she puts it together. I enjoyed it enormously. And it's good. Allison, before we let you go and walk home now, I'm going to let you find out what are the final words you would say to someone who says, okay, you got me. I want to do it. I want to be more authentic, that they can take with them today and start implementing right now.
I'd like you to open up an AI tool right now, whether it's ChatGPT, Google Gemini, whatever language model you're using. Simply open it up and ask it, how can you help me be more authentic? And I like to ask AI how AI can help me. Set aside an unrushed 30 minutes, maybe with a cup of coffee or tea, turn off notifications, and simply have a conversation with that AI tool, and you will be amazed at the advice it gives you. Read my book so that you have further nuance on how to use it effectively, and also for some of the dangers we need to be aware of as individuals and as leaders using AI, and what it means for our future as humans connecting with one another. So the book also has some cautions for the future that I think everyone should be aware of right now.
All right. Well, Allison, thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate you being here and sharing your knowledge so freely and so helpfully. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Terry. Thanks for having me, and thanks for everything that you do.
You bet. And for those of you that are joining us here, think about what we just saw and what we just heard. Allison is a person you want to pay attention to. Put her on your radar. Look her up. See what they're. Get in touch with her also if you need some help with speaking. She helps on a lot of those areas. This is the key. I've talked about this myself, and it's wonderful to find Allison and I resonating on this perfectly. It's not copy and paste. It's copy, paste, and then customize it. You want to make it really you. I like to say you need to you-ize it. Put your feelings, your thoughts into what you're doing. She shows us how to do that in her books, and Allison does a great job of it. I'm Terry Brock with Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, and we appreciate you joining us here. We'll look forward to seeing you around the bend.